Hide your kids. Lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. It's National Fudge Day and Take Back the Lunch Break Day. Any guesses what I'm having for lunch today after the show, Chad? Yeah. You are listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. This is your co-host, Joel Packer Cheeseman.
And this is Chad. Nobody wants an AI Ringo Sowash.
And on this week's show, SHRM stuff, an OnlyFans smackdown, and buy or sell. Let's do this.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harry comes in. Harry is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harry, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harry's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harry, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harry is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
What's up, man?
Motherfucking cardboard Chad. What the hell? You had a week.
Cardboard Chad.
you had a week.
Dude, I walk into the expo hall. So if you're not a regular listener, I was at SHRM, the SHRM National show this week. I walk into the expo hall. No shit. Cardboard Chad is facing everyone that's coming into that particular door of the expo hall because Aaron's booth was right in the corner and they moved Cardboard Chad to basically greet everyone that was coming through the door.
I love it.
It was quite a sight. They
had a roll up. They had a roll up with Chad and Cheese, HR's most dangerous podcast. I had me in my robe and slippers. Yeah, no, it was pretty legit.
And Chad heads were all around as well, which is not good for anybody. Cardboard Chad made friends with Cardboard Dolly Parton, which was probably one of the highlights for me of the show. Yeah. That's a romance that is budding and worth keeping an eye on, Chad.
Yeah,
Islands in the Stream
coasters.
takes on a whole different meaning when it's Cardboard Chad involved.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I've been in Vegas for a week. I need a nap more than usual. I was there with my wife and some of the in-laws, having a good time, and then transitioned over to the SHRM show. Drank every day for sure of that trip. Yeah, and it's not good. Congratulations to hockey's Las Vegas Golden Knights, who won the title while I was there. Had some drinks with the Plum team, which includes a Canadian founder. So it was always fun to rub in the fact that another year goes by without a Canadian team winning the NHL, which, by the way, we researched the last Canadian team to win it. Do you know?
No, shit.
No. 1993's Montreal Canadiens were the last Canadian team to win the cup. Of course, they're very quick to let you know that everyone that plays on every team is Canadian, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. The Canadians win every year.
Every year.
Shout out!
All right, it's time. While you were in Vegas, I was on a mission to spread diplomacy. That's right. You don't need shots for that. I was spreading diplomacy. We actually met two French couples at an Italian restaurant, and we were just having a good time. They didn't speak English. We didn't speak French. They bought us 2 bottles of wine. We sat there like for 3 hours, I swear, just bullshitting and Google translating. They invited us to their Airbnb last weekend while you were in Vegas. We arrived to 5 hours of food and drink, only communicating through Google Translate. We had a fucking blast. It is literally one of those days you're going to remember for the rest of our lives. So anyway, shout out to French people and technology. And when Julie and I go back to Normandy, we've got a place to stay.
You know, a lot of porn starts with French people in Italian restaurants, by the way. That's where my mind went on this. It also reminds me of European Vacation when the Griswolds go to a French restaurant. And he's like, I'll give you dishwater. You won't know the difference. And he talks about Clark's daughter. Anyway, at least there's Google Translate.
They weren't Parisian. Okay, we'll just say that. Yes.
Shout out a little bit more SHRM stuff. Okay, a little business stuff.
Bring it back.
The expo hall was interesting. It was full. It was busy. I think they had a larger number of people that went this year than last year. It was a little more telling about who wasn't there in the vendor space. Eightfold, who we love making fun of for their 80 by 80 booths, had no booth whatsoever.
Wow.
Deal, Oyster, Velocity Global, a lot of the unicorns we talk about weren't there. Indeed, Hi Bob, Fountain, Paradox, Remote were there, but very subtle booths. Mostly did not have the A team in the booth, like obviously not the A team in the booth. I indeed had one of the banners that hung from the ceiling, the rafters. It looked like somebody printed it out from the HP printer in the office, like they didn't print
dot
it out
matrix.
fast. Yeah, the dot matrix with the holes on the side that you got to rip off. Yeah, that's what that looked like. But that was my takeaway from the vendor side. Was in the Aaron booth from another Chad and Cheese perspective. Another 150 T-shirts with our faces on it were given out during this conference, and I'm just amazed that
you
people
didn't even
still continue
save one
to want
for
them.
Stephen McGrath. Oh my God!
I did not. That's another shout out that's coming up, so don't ruin it. But yes, I got one for my dad, who it's pretty much all he wears is Chad and Cheese T-shirts, which I can't hate on. I got him a new one so he can rotate it in the laundry. But it was a good show. I mean, I would say equal parts optimism, equal parts like nuclear winter is coming. I'm not sure what to make of that, but we'll be talking about that obviously as the weeks and months go by throughout the rest of the year.
Well, what's going to save us, Joel, or my next shout out, large language models. That's right. All vendors are looking at different ways to leverage generative AI, and Adzuna is choosing to use this most powerful tech for job seekers in an interview prep tool. So this is from the press release. Based over 10 years of labor market data, Prepper is built on a large language model using inbuilt prompts to generate and review interview questions and model answers. The tool also assesses and scores candidates' answers, reviewing each response with the skills and requirements being sought by the employer, and provided bespoke feedback, not customized, but bespoke feedback to help candidates improve. So you just add the job title into this and the job description, then you can choose easy, hard, or pirate. I love that. Very Talru, very pirate, as an interviewer preference, and away you go. So using large language models, AI, to help job seekers. Shout out to LLM and for Adzuna, focusing on the job seeker. And little rumor news, I heard a little listener told me.
Why are you looking around?
You only see that on the YouTube
listeners
version.
Won't see what you're doing.
I heard from a little listener that Indeed is backing away from their mandatory salaries on their job. So this is just a rumor. We're going to take a look at it. That's exactly right. We're going to continue to watch this space, but Indeed might possibly be backing away from their salary mandates. Keep a watch.
Wow. So the name Prepper, sometimes these like countries, like words mean different things. I mean, when I saw Prepper, I was like, is this some doomsday product that they're creating that, preppers are like doomsday preparers. And I pray that some country creates a competitor called Fluffer. Please, God. Please let someone not know and make Fluffer
it's the OnlyFans version.
The competing product.
Version. Yes.
And speaking of Fluffer, my next shout out, I got a few super fans that I need to shine a light on. Stephen McGrath, I don't know how many shows in a row that he's been in, but our favorite Scott finally got his T-shirt. My God, yes, there is a God. Finally, the mail service, the post, got it to him. Well, both you and I woke up this morning to a picture of Steven in his T-shirt and nothing but the T-shirt with a big censored bar over his twig and berries, if
you're
you will.
Watching us on YouTube, you can actually see the picture.
Yeah. Something Adam Gord wouldn't even think about doing. Steven, like it's just Tuesday at the McGrath house. So shout out to him and a couple other super fans that came by during my time at SHRM. Rachel Scudder, she's with Jobcase. She's a Hoosier. Went to Indiana State, a school you know well because your daughter
Terre Haute
was there. Yeah, Terre Haute, Indiana. She came by and was excited to see that we were there. At least I was there. And also Ilya Brodsky,
yes,
a super fan. He is the CEO at Van Hack. And if you don't know what Van Hack is, it makes sense when you realize he's from Vancouver. And he helps people in Vancouver hire tech people. I think they've moved on from just Vancouver. So he's trying to figure out the branding. I told him, like, dude, just get a VW van as a mascot and then put a techie on the side of whatever.
Van Wilder, Van Hack. I love it.
I don't know but anyway, so those two guys, big fans of the show. Stephen McGrath, keep doing you, man. I can't wait to see you in London, which I guess will bring us into travel here in a second. But can't wait to see you, man. Don't corrupt my son too much, please.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah.
I've got an update on the Messi shout out from last week with Inter Miami.
Yep.
So $29 tickets now cost $450 plus. I mean, come the fuck on, people. It's almost like we don't know how capitalism works. A family of four is over $100 at $29 per ticket, right? Do you think a family of four can afford close to $2,000, including all those fucking fees and shit? Not enough families to fill the damn stadiums, buy beer, hot dogs, and nachos, your favorite. What the actual fuck were these idiots thinking? Raising skybox rates might have been good, but fill the fucking stadium, sell merch, sell concessions. Then ratchet it up from there. I mean, this reminds me of Job Adder's dumbass CEO takeover of Job Adder in the Boost, right? I don't know. Maybe he's on the team at Inter Miami. I don't know.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
To charge more for MLS, I don't care who's on the pitch, than football tickets in America is just stupid. You just can't do it.
You stop it.
You can't.
You stop it.
Oh man.
Oh.
Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can.
You know it.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Down to my plums. Yeah, that's right, Chad. It's birthdays, and it's Rum with Plum. Which also we should mention, if you haven't given us your contact information for free shit, we got beer from our friends at Aspen Tech Labs, bourbon from our friends at Tex Kernel, and rum with plum if it's your birthday month. And celebrating another trip around the sun this week is Eli Karstens, Kimberly Ulstrup, TJ Alou, Robin Walsh, Zach Martin, Catherine Henry, Eric Baker, Linda Whitemore, Jennifer McClure, and Danielle North.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, fans.
We also have to remind, or actually let our listeners know, that we have a new free giveaway. It's for getaways, and it's from our friends over at Abode HR. You go and register at free, and once a month, we're going to give away, with Abode, we're going to give away $250 worth. It's a little card. Little credit card of Airbnb. This gives you, TA and HR professionals, an opportunity to get the fuck away, to breathe, and to focus on strategy and get out of the goddamn tactical weeds. That's from Chad and Cheese and your friends over at Abode HR.
Ooh, I like that. I like that
a lot. Events. Got to do events.
And where are we going, Chad?
We're going to the UK. We're going to Wreckfest, July 6th at Nebworth Park. But By the time you hear this episode, kids, I'm pretty confident that RecFest is going to have already hit their threshold of 5,500 people that are allowed to come in. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, you're shit out of luck, kids. That's just sad. But what should make you happy is RecFest Nashville. Be there to say that you and your team, because this is an all hands thing, this is a bonding moment, that you were the very fucking first RecFest USA team, fans, what have you. Seriously, you know it's a thing. In 5 years, RecFest, you're going to be the OG. They'll have OG badges, that kind of shit. You're going to get, you see people with the OG badges, you give them that subtle nod while you get a little bit more champagne in your mimosa. Cheeseman, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You bougie bastard. That is exactly what RecFest is about. Fun, getting together, all hands, learning, and since you couldn't make it to the UK because they're sold out, you got to come to the US.
Electric Bull, Chad. I want the Electric Bull in Tennessee, baby. Give it to me. Give it to me. All right. AI. Yeah.
Ooh,
Startup Synthesia has raised $90 million in a Series C round, bringing its total to $156 million. Synthesia's platform allows companies to create instructional videos using AI avatars without the need for actors or studios. The company will generate over 12 million videos and works with over 50,000 companies worldwide this year alone. Nvidia, the company powering this revolution, is now $1 trillion juggernaut. McKinsey says the AI boom will usher in an age of accelerated productivity to the tune of around $4 trillion annually, but it will come with profound disruption for many, primarily knowledge workers. At least they can use the time off to listen to some new Beatles songs, as Paul McCartney confirmed this week that they're making a new single utilizing John Lennon's AI-generated voice. Chad, lots to unpack here. The AI front is hot, as usual. What's your take?
My take is you're very tired because you didn't use the unicorn sound effect. But when Nvidia comes knocking, you let them in. Nvidia is the most important company in the world when it comes to AI development and ML right now. Why, you might ask? Nvidia's GPUs are the processors used for AI and deep learning, not CPUs, not these little things that we use on our computer. They don't have the market cornered, but they've pretty much have the market cornered. So if you're an AI company and Nvidia comes knocking, whether you need the money or not, you open the goddamn door, you have the conversation. So apparently there are over 12 million videos with Synthesia. That's a horrible name. Synthesia has over 12 million videos that have been generated on the platform since 2017 in 50,000 companies worldwide. That's not too shabby if we better understand what their MRR, ARR, their pricing model is. Here's a big thing. Competitors, Hour One, who's been on the show, Veritone, sponsor and on the show many times. This space is heating up. It is fucking hot. And this is nothing but market validation for the companies that we've already been talking to, Hour One, Veritone, who are looking at voice. I mean, not just audio, but also video and avatar all the way through, man. It is fucking crazy. Tell me what you think about that.
For sure. And again, I've got SHRM on the brain. Yes, I need a nap. You're right about that. Slightly brain dead for this week's show. Sorry about that, everybody.
I'll put the unicorn in. Don't worry.
But look, it's clear like companies are trying to figure out how we get on this AI train. There's a lot of sort of like paste in messaging, because when people buy the booths for SHRM, it's usually like a year before, and they try to figure everything out. You could see like there was a little bit of plastering of like, Chat GPT and coming soon, this and that and the other. Yeah. So everyone's trying to figure out what to do on this front. But you have companies that were there and I talked to that are on this train right now. Virgil HR, who I spoke with, and I think we'll get that interview up at some point. They're using AI to basically replace lawyers for a firm, or for a company. So an employee can like type in, I want to lay off people in California. What are the laws? What's the process? And it can like spit it out for you that you don't need the lawyers that you used to have before. Beamery, you mentioned Adzuna. Beamery this week announced, I guess what they're calling an AI-driven workforce planning solution. So everyone's trying to release news, trying to get this product together. What we've talked about before is that you have these, I don't know, baby gorillas, soon to become 800-pound gorillas, the Veritones of the world. They're going to have just a howitzer that'll tie in HR products and services because they have the video technology, the scripting, the language processing, the translations into multiple languages. Like, they're going to be at the forefront, and a lot of these other companies are just not going to be able to play ball or compete with it. So it's going to be crazy to talk about. The McKinsey report that came out this week, if you get a chance, type in Google McKinsey digital report. It's a long thing, but it's really interesting. This is the next year or two that we're going to be talking about AI solutions, startups. Easily. Money's going to be going into this stuff. It'll be really exciting and disruptive.
The Nvidia CEO actually said Moore's law, instead of being 1.5 times, it's 2 times right now. It is moving that much faster. Going to the Beatles discussion and a new album, right? Yep. So I had a discussion with Julie this morning because I don't know how I feel about this. I love music. I love the classics. I love it from living people. I don't know if I love the new generated, not real stuff. So I asked Julie, I was like, what do you think? She said, I think it cheapens the experience. I then asked her if you thought it was okay to speak with your grandma, because that's another thing, right? You can actually condense that information. That coming out now. She had a visceral reaction to that. She said, yeah, no, I would definitely love to speak with grandma. Then I said, but for some people, music and bands are like a personal and real relationship. And then she thought that one through a little bit harder and said, okay, well, maybe no, right? Maybe no, because it cheapens the experience. It all led to this question. What is life worth, right? If you live 27 years, like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, and a list of others, does it cheapen the experience after you saw Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin at Woodstock and you're a boomer? Would it cheapen the experience if a new AI version of the album came out, and who would buy it? I guess we're going to find out. And this is also going to open a can of worms around, should Harry Carey AI be used for Cubs games? Should AI be used to recreate, obviously, all these musical works? And or discussions with grandma, because these are all discussions and products that are already out there.
What is life worth?
Quickly.
Yeah,
you went there, didn't you? So I initially liked this trend, mostly because there's a new Oasis album, and Oasis wasn't going to make a new album ever, and it was pretty good. Like, voice, the single was written, and real people played instruments. Yeah, and then yes. This came out, and I was like, do I really want to hear a Beatles record with John Lennon's AI voice? Now, it's endorsed by Paul, which helps it, because if you go to YouTube, go like AI, search AI cover, and there's everything under the sun. Right? There's Freddie Mercury singing Hotel California, and there's just, people are just being crazy. I think that totally is stupid. That's novel. People will get over that, like they did MySpace and some other things.
And most people buy it.
But the problem is, yes, like, these songs don't exist in a vacuum. These artists don't exist in a vacuum. You couldn't release Revolution today and have it have the same meaning as it did in the 60s. You can't have Blitzkrieg Bop released today and have it have the same gravitas that it did in the 70s. Smells Like Teen Spirit today does not have the same hit that it does in the early 90s. So for me, maybe it's old school. I don't like the idea of artists that have these bookmarks in history, these bookmarks in our lives, these bookmarks in time, whether it's Vietnam or whatever in history. Like, I don't like the idea of that. Maybe it's an old guy crusty thing, but I'm going to sell the whole dead rockers creating new stuff trend.
Yeah. Again, what is life worth?
Damn, you went there. That was
quickly.
That was really fucking deep. We got to move on from some of that shit.
Clearance rack.
Let's talk about sales. All right. Can I interest you in some sleep-inducing acquisitions, Chad? Israeli startup Comeet, a provider of applicant tracking and candidate management platform, is merging with video interview platform Spark Hire. The merger is estimated to be a $50 million deal. The merged company will have a combined customer base of over 7,000 companies. But wait, Chad, there's more. There's more from the TJ Maxx. WebMD is set to acquire Limeade. The transaction values Limeade at $75 million and is expected to close in the third quarter. Limeade provides software to help companies enhance employee well-being and satisfaction. All right, Chad, throw back a 5-hour energy and give us your take.
Dude, an applicant tracking system just bought or was just sold to a video interviewing platform. That's about as backwards as it fucking gets, right? Comeet was founded in 2013, received about $7.2 million in funding. Spark Hire, founded back in 2010. It seems like they've taken little funding, under 70 employees. So it almost seems kind of like a lifestyle company to some extent. The question is, how do you take that kind of lifestyle company and then take on the huge debt? I don't mean just technical debt. I mean total debt of what an applicant tracking system provides. Spark Hire isn't a big name in the space, right? And again, that might be on purpose. Buying this many people and new tech, they're going to have to go after funding. Is this a great time to go after funding? It's not. It's not. So, I see this as Spark Hire's very safe and reliable Volvo. They just hitched it up to a freight train, and now the Volvo has to pull the Comeet freight train. It's gonna be incredibly hard for them. I wish them luck. But what they were doing, I think it's going to be really hard for them to expand beyond and into applicant tracking.
So we had a show, I think maybe a year or so ago, and we talked about what do SMBs do when they need an ATS? Well, a lot of them just use the Indeed built-in ATS, or they'll use the ZipRecruiter or whatever. And what does that do to that tier 2 or tier 3 ATS? Kind of puts them out of business, frankly. There's a lot of tier 2, tier 3 ATSs. Comeet is one of them that simply can't compete with the iCIMS, the smart recruiters, the big guys that are out there doing it. On the other side of that, there's a whole lot of SaaS companies that think they are a platform, or at least they want to be a platform. And to be a platform in our business, you better have an ATS. Yes. So you're going to see a lot of these SaaS companies go shopping for these lower tier ATSs because, frankly, it's just a bad business. The ATS is a commodity, and these ATSs that are down at that level, they don't have marketplaces. And if they do have marketplaces, companies aren't building for it because they don't have enough penetration to make it worth their while. So you have an ATS that all is an ATS. There's no marketplace. Companies are leaving them to go to ATSs that do have marketplaces that they can use. It's just inevitable that these are going to get bought up, go out of business, and you're going to see more of these SaaS companies with a little bit of money, a little bit of cheddar in the bank from investment, go buy ATSs and say, now we're a platform. Mm-hmm. Will the market buy it? I don't think so, but it is a move that I at least understand. Yeah. Now going to the WebMD deal.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So Limeade, I think the biggest issue, and we see this throughout our entire industry, is we don't understand how to create a narrative that's going to sell more. There are some amazing CEOs that have gone through our industry who can raise money and can sell shit. And they do one thing incredibly well: narrative. Being able to hone in on what is truly important and create a narrative. Limeade couldn't do that. Went into their press release, went into some of their blogs, went into their website. They couldn't get narrative right. I mean, they could have been they could have easily been a 5 to 6x as opposed to a little over a 2x, right? Mm-hmm. They had a couple of points that they should have definitely hit. I saw that were easy to hit, but they didn't even touch. Number one, low worker productivity, which equals lost revenue, and that's all been in the papers, the news lately. High attrition rates, lost revenue. That's the key. We don't focus on the hard lost revenue types of numbers, which the board gives a shit about. We always focus on the fuzzy charts and graphs and that kind of shit. That's the thing. We really need to focus on stories like Amazon lost $9 billion in revenue because of attrition. Lost revenue, 2 words we have to have in our lexicon. And we have to go further than just talking about 3 times better productivity. That doesn't mean a fucking thing to the board unless you can put numbers to it, right? And in that productivity, what does that actually do from an attrition standpoint? Attrition stretches teams too thin. So you lose productivity while you're trying to fill a record number of positions, and the employees that stay are getting burnt the fuck out. Then you hire, onboard. How long does that take? Because your current team is still running on fumes. And then finally, when you get people in the seats to do the goddamn job, the people that are burnt out fucking leave. You're in this vicious cycle, right? That's where productivity has gone to the shitter. And then we need to tie in attrition rate. So again, lost revenue. Our industry needs to focus on those 2 words. Limeade wasn't even close to it. So again, I really think that this organization could have sold for a lot more. They just didn't know how to build a narrative.
The math did not add up, Chad.
60% of the time, it works every time.
So my take's a little bit different on this, and it's pretty simple. I've said it before on the show. This company raised about $33 million. They were founded in 2006. You said it, raising money now, really hard. There's no free money left, right? No. Time ran out on Limeade, clear and simple. The money ran out. The patience for the investors ran out. They sold this thing probably for a song. I think that's, to me, clear cut at what happened in terms of that deal on that side.
A little over 2 times. Now, 2 times at least. Yeah, their funding. Well,
I hope they've used that 33 to make some money in the 20 years basically that they've been around. Hopefully that they did have some monetary value there. The WebMD thing, I don't know WebMD very well. I know it comes on search results when I want to know about my prostate and what's going on with, my weight gain in the holidays or whatever. But 2 words on that side: elevated careers. Do you remember elevated careers, Chad? They were the eHarmony of jobs.
Oh, they were
guess
fucking
who bought them?
Horrible.
eHarmony bought the eHarmony of jobs. So WebMD coming in thinking that they can buy some employee, a satisfaction company or employee wellness company, and now they're gonna launch WebMD Employment or WebMD Work and try to make this thing something that people want. And I think it's going to end up just like eHarmony and be a total piece of dog shit, hot garbage. What the hell are these companies thinking? All right, Chad, can I interest you in some buy or sell, baby? That's
Always.
Right. We talk about 3 companies that have recently gotten funding. We read a summary, and Chad and I will review them and either buy or sell. Let's play. Number 1, Ferretly, the social media screening company, has raised $1.5 million in a seed funding round, bringing its total to $2 million. Ferretly's platform helps organizations assess candidates' online personas to align them with corporate values, reduce risk, and create a safer workplace. The funding will be used to expand into the pre-employment screening market and other segments. Chad, are you buy or sell on Ferretly?
So we've talked about Fama, who just acquired Social Intelligence in the space for a few years. And I believe we both feel that this type of social background checking is inevitable. I mean, it's going to happen. The biggest difference between Ferretly and Fama, I think, is messaging. Ferretly is going heavily toward pure fear marketing, using words like hate speech, political speech, insults and bullying, self-harm, sexual impropriety, terrorism, extremism, toxic language. I mean, the list goes on. Those are triggers that will sell a very risk-averse HR practitioner. If you scare the shit out of them, they're like, "Oh fuck, my people are doing that." We need to put parameters around this. On the other side of the house, FAMA's being a little bit more mature about that. They're hitting it a little bit lightly, but I've said it before and I say it again: old crusty background check companies will have to build new processes and infrastructure to scale. The days of someone running to the local courthouse in Walla Walla, Washington will be a thing of the past as data becomes more public and AI scales background checking. I believe FAMA is well ahead of Ferretly, but that doesn't mean Ferretly isn't a good acquisition target for an old, slow, and lumbering background check company. This, for me, my friend, is a buy.
Have you even been to Walla Walla, Washington?
I have.
Oh, have you? Okay, I haven't. Sure, it's a fine place. Another difference between Ferretly and FAMA is money raised. FAMA's raised around $17 million, and then, of course, the $2 million here by Ferretly. This is, to me, the Coke and Pepsi of this sector of the industry, right? If you're looking for social media, like background checking, these are the two companies. I don't think we'll see any more. It's becoming a hard business. I mean, is TikTok and video and like how this stuff is created, that's a tough thing to monitor. It's not just tweets, right? It's not just text. So it's a tough business. I don't see anybody getting into it from here. Both are basically features for a bigger background check company. Yes. I agree with you. That's a no-brainer. Ferretly at much less raised is going to be probably the first one to go out. And that'll set the market for FAMA. Money isn't free anymore, like we've said. Right. This feels a lot like a bridge loan to when we finally get to a place where people are buying companies again, because it's just not a lot of money. It feels like the investors are like, oh, let's get us to 2025, 2024, and then we'll start talking about acquisition. I don't see them raising more money. I think it'll be bought by 24, 25. The litmus test to me is, in terms of being bought, is does it make a profit for the investors? And I think the modest investment that they've gotten is going to be returned maybe 10x for a company like this, because a background check company needs to have this service. So for me, this is an obvious buy for me as well. Well, let's talk about 2045, the New York City-based network. An exclusive network for influential professionals of color secured $4.2 million in pre-seed funding. Funds will be used to enhance digital tools, programming, and their NYC clubhouse. The company also unveiled a comprehensive in-person and online membership platform with committed corporate sponsors, including Pfizer, Ford, and Fidelity. Chad, are you buy or sell on 2045?
I love the apply for community membership element. I mean, it's a velvet rope type of community. Not everybody can get in. I don't like that it's NYC, New York City focused. We live in a remote environment. Why do we have boundaries? I understand there is a physical element to it, but that doesn't mean the entire thing has to be a physical piece. Their messaging is pretty tight. Diverse leaders are leaving corporate jobs at a staggering rate. That's a great hook, because those who have left and or are thinking about leaving, they're not giving up. They're just taking a breath. And what a better place than among other like-minded leaders. 4.2 in pre-seed funding is for a professional network. That's pretty stout, right? 2045 is looking at two membership options. Number one, individual pay. And number two, company pay. Number one is a non-starter. This should be a free platform subsidized by companies in a variety of ways. Now, if they want to charge for live events and or use of their clubhouse, that's understandable. But membership fees are a non-starter. I love the core concept, but they have some business model issues that need to be shored up. They have self-imposed geographic limitations, and I think some soul searching to do. So even though I love the core concept, 2445 right now is a sell for me.
So first of all, I tried really hard to find out how the name 2045 was given to this. I can't find it. I assume you didn't find it. So if somebody knows how they got the name 2045, let me know.
I believe that is when in the United States, white people aren't going to be the majority anymore. We're going to be more of a mixed society. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I have you on the show, Chad.
Which is
to
awesome.
Let me know about this. So number one, it's NBA All-Star CJ McConnell. Who is an avid Browns fan from Canton, is an investor, and I just had to get the Browns on the show somehow, so that's how I'm going to do that. Look, by almost all metrics in America, blacks are behind. I'm all for anything that lifts people and sets an example of success. This company portrays blacks as successful, just in a positive light, and that's good for everybody. We've seen organizations like this pop up, whether it's blacks, women, Hispanics, etc., and they've all had little to no success that I can see. I mean, Fairy Godboss was acquired. I guess that may be a win. But 2045 being a winner is a winner for all of us. They do have digital membership, so you don't have to be in New York. My guess is if it works, they'll launch it in Philly and Chicago and LA, and it'll come to other markets. And I think we should all be rooting for this organization to be a big success. So for me, I love what they're doing. It's a good first seed round. A lot of good corporate sponsors.
All right.
I'm going to buy 2045. Let's get to go ahead.
2045 leadership. Feel free to reach out if you're like some advising from me. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation. No invoice necessary, because I'd love to see what you're doing work. I just see a lot of gaps and would be more than happy to help.
And if CJ McConnell ever wants to come on the show, we will make room for you, my friend. We will make room. All right, let's go to Swing Education.
Here we go.
San Francisco-based startup Swing Education has raised $38 million in a Series C funding round, bringing its total to $60.8 million. The company operates an online platform that connects schools with substitute teachers, addressing the issue of teacher shortage. Let's go back to school, Chad. I'm going to review this one first, just for the hell of it, because I need a nap.
Why
and
not?
we need to quick this thing up. All right. Historically, tapping into solving government pain is a big winner. Getting government money is a winner because it's a consistent form of cash that you can rely on. Right now, over 3/4 of states in America are facing teacher shortages. Until we start paying teachers like the rock stars that they are, we're going to continue having teacher shortages. A company out there that can help plug in teachers, even on a substitute basis, I think is a slam dunk because there's such a need for it. I think their educational programs where they can take substitute teachers and make them into full-time teachers with upskilling, I think is a big win as well. When you have a need like this, when you have government money that's going to go towards it and a consistent customer that's not going to go anywhere, this is, to me, another buy, which is my hat trick and my hat tip to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. My hat trick.
Somebody's in a good mood. Somebody's in a good mood. So yes, we have a teacher shortage. There's no question. And there's a number of reasons for it. And Swing Education is a Band-Aid on a sucking chest wound. But because the problem is so goddamn big, we need, even if they're Band-Aids, we need something to help. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all that a platform that can help really connect a lot of these substitute teachers into spots and give them an opportunity to see what's open and where they can go very quickly just makes sense. So, I mean, this is really like a marketplace. I love marketplaces. Again, this is not going to fix the problem, but I tell you what it's going to do. It's going to make money. It's a buy for me.
All right.
We'll be right back. Can I interest you in a OnlyFans story, Chad?
Step bro.
All right. OnlyFans creator Elle Brooke was quizzed by conservative Piers Morgan about how her future children will react to her career. It is being celebrated as the perfect response, but I'm going to let our listeners decide for themselves.
I'm just curious about you being someone who embarked on a law career, was obviously very bright, went to university, packed it in just for money to be effectively an online stripper. I mean, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, way worse than an online stripper. But
What do you mean way worse?
way worse. Online strippers just, naked. I do things that are way more grotesque
Or
than
just
that.
pornography?
Anything, but it's all within what I want to do, and I absolutely love it, and I'm really good at it. I could be a good lawyer, yes, but also, am I good at doing other things on video and camera?
How would you feel when you want to have kids yourself?
Well, I mean, I don't really want kids right now. But at
You
least
will do. How old are you?
25.
Right, so you will do at some stage, probably, right?
Maybe.
When you do, you're going to be proud that you have your little ones and they look at you and go, didn't you want to be a lawyer, Mummy? What happened?
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, but look at all my stuff.
They can cry in a Ferrari.
All right, Chad, drop the mic moment for the OnlyFans movement, or not so much?
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame in Elle Brooke's game, for God's sake. Sex is about control, and Piers Morgan is, I don't know if this is really how he thinks, but he's definitely demonstrating the old power structure. And sex is about control. Throughout history, sex has become taboo because there's one area that men don't own control, and that's a woman's body, unless they use things like shame to harness that control, which we've done amazingly well through religion and many other structures of things that, we can't even prove exists. But Elle is doing what she wants, how she wants, where she wants, and most importantly, with whom she wants. Good for her. Good for her. That's, she's going to make more money doing this than being an attorney.
Yep. So Piers Morgan is an old white dude, for our listeners that don't know. I'm an old white dude. Chad has called us old white dudes before. Yeah. Attitudes about naked women from yesterday are much different than they are today. Sex has become normalized online, and women are profiting from it handsomely. And it's not just dildos and BJs, by the way. Some twin female basketball players from the University of Miami have earned millions of dollars in the NIL deal from a couple years ago. And they're not strippers and they're not porn stars. They're just really cute. Playboy used to be the primary outlet for most men to see naked women. Playboy came out once a month. So the number of women that could be in the limelight for their nudity was very exclusive. The internet has democratized sex appeal and sex. It is what it is. I'm not sure if it's ultimately a net win for society. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I don't want her to think that being sexualized is the way to make millions of dollars necessarily. I know you have a daughter, so I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, ultimately, I think AI phases out a lot of this trend. The sex robots, the AI videos where you can get, the AI girl to do whatever you want, however you want, to whatever, is probably ultimately going to put OnlyFans out of business. And this will be something that we talk about from back in the day, just like the internet, or just like the internet put Playboy out of business. I think AI is ultimately going to put OnlyFans out of business, but only time will tell. Until then, it's fun to talk about.
What are you doing, step bro?
We out.
We out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper Jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!